Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm gonna skip the formalities this time and get right to the point. Front brake pad and rotor replacement on a 2010 Toyota 4Runner. Let's get right into it. Here's the vehicle. Obviously you will want to have it safely lifted so you can work, whether you're using jack stands and jack. There's my other jack stand. Or if you're using a lift, remember use the safety. Here is what the front looks like after removing the wheel. Before I begin, I'm going to spray some penetrating oil right here, and then my mounting bolts for the caliper, which are back here, and a little bit up in here for the guide pins so they come out easier. After spraying my penetrating oil, I'm going to remove the bolt for the brake line bracket that hooks onto this arm right here so that we can move this around a little bit better. And this is 12mm head bolt. Next, I'm going to remove this retaining clip for the guide pins. And of course, if your new brake pad set doesn't come with these, you're gonna want to save that. So try not to mess this up. Next, I'm gonna get my brake pad / caliper piston spreader tool in here to open these up a little bit to be able to pull them out easier. You're gonna have to open up your brake bleeder screw to relieve some of that pressure. Otherwise, you're just gonna be trying to pry those apart, and you're not going to get anywhere unless you open this up. So I'm going to introduce my wrench, and I got my hose right here so we don't lose any, and it's routed all the way into my trusty little Gatorade bottle. And let's give it a try. And you can see some brake fluid is coming out, which is fine. Okay, they're a little loose now, so hopefully it should be easier. We're going to close this back up. And now we're ready to take our guide pins out. Got my punch here and a small little sledgehammer. I'm going to put this back here. There's one, and the other one. I'll pull this one out. Like that. Alright, we're ready to remove our caliper. To remove our caliper, we're going to remove the mounting bolts for the caliper to the hub. One down here and one up here. Let's try the top one. For the top one, I got a deep wheel socket to clear that so I don't damage the brake line with my ratchet. Alright. Let's get the bottom one's fine. Okay, it seems like it broke this loose. Let's keep going and see if it comes off. Alright, now we can switch ratchets. Bottom bolt. Okay, top bolt. If you have a couple hooks like these that come with the spreader tool included, you want to use them to hold the weight of the caliper on the hooks and not the actual brake line, because you don't want all that weight resting on this contraption. If not, if you have some bungee cords or anything that'll keep the weight off the brake line, will do the job. Take our rotor off. And what I'm actually going to do is mount my caliper back on the hub without the rotor, so I can use my spreader tool while it's mounted on the hub to be able to put it on new brake pads, because the new brake pads are going to have more thickness. So I'll come over here. And I'm not going to fully tighten down, just enough so that it's held in place. Now, to be able to use this, since this opening is too wide for the tool, if you try to use it, you're just gonna ratchet it all the way out and it won't work. So I'm gonna put a brake pad back in place like that, and that's gonna give us some thickness to be able to use our spreader tool. Alright, and remember, we have to open this up again to relieve some of that pressure. Okay, we'll open this up. Just let it rest right there, and I want to start ratcheting, and that'll push our pistons for the caliper back inside it. as you can see. And I think that's it. Yeah. So I'm gonna close this back up. And move our spreader tool. And hopefully it's flush enough so that our new brake pads can fit with more thickness. Now that I have my caliper off, I'm gonna get in here with a wire brush, get some of that rust off, brush the contact points for the brake pads on the caliper and my bolts. Apply some anti-seize right here so our rotor doesn't stick for next time. And then we're ready to slap on the new parts. Alright, we got a new brake rotor. I'm gonna spray it down with some brake parts cleaner to get rid of any oil from the factory. And we're ready to install it. Got my anti-seize, my contact points. Yeah, I'm gonna put a lug nut right there to hold it in place. Alright, after putting my rotor on, I'm ready to put our caliper back on. Give these a little brush. Alright, that's nice and snug, and these bolts get torqued down to 91 pound-feet of torque. Okay, we're ready to install our new brake pads. The one with the brake pad wear sensor goes on the back side. And I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on the edge of the brake pad where it slides on the caliper. And it would help if you wiggle the rotor around to help that slide in, or the brake pad. Give that a little love tap. Yeah. The old brake pads did not come with a clip. They're supposed to be a retaining clip that you put through the right here through the guide pin all the way through, and the guide pin holds it in place, and it clips onto these two holes. My new brake pads didn't come with it, nor did didn't have it previously, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. And we're gonna reuse this little guy. And there's a hole going straight through the diameter of the guide pin where this goes in at the end of the guide pin. You have to make sure that's pointed in the right direction. Like that, and then in through here, and then on the top one. Like that. And that'll keep our guide pins from vibrating back out. And remember, we still gotta come back and torque the mounting bolts for the caliper to 91 pound-feet of torque, but I wanted to put my brake pads in place first, because if I have to dismount the caliper back off again to put those pistons back in, it sucks to have to redo it if you already torqued them down. I got my torque wrench set to 91 pound-feet of torque. Alright, we'll put our bracket back inside this hook goes back inside that hole or indentation. Like that, doesn't require much. Alright guys, we're finally done with the brake pad and rotor installation on the 2010 Toyota 4Runner. I will try to do my best to include all the parts and tools that I used in the description below. If you liked the video, give it a like, comment what you think, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. It really helps out the channel. I'm very grateful, and if not, I'm still thankful that you took the time to view. Thank you all for watching, and see you guys on the next one.